Hello everyone and welcome back to Beyond the Apex. Today we're talking about the Belgian Grand Prix, so we're back in Spa and what a race it was.
Oh my god, what a race. Came down to the wire and even past the checkered flag, we had more controversy.
And there's so much to talk about, so let's quickly get onto Red Bull before we get onto the main
the juice,
I mean, Max during qualifying.
Yeah, they had the fastest car, clearly. I mean, he was absolutely miles ahead of everyone else, which also allowed Checo to come up, because we've always said he's 4 or 5 tenths off. So when Max is 6 tenths ahead in qualifying, Checo was actually P3, which was cool. Yeah. But despite that good qualifying from Checo, he still got P8, I think, which was an awful result for him. He dropped down so many positions, and especially with the rumour mill going mental about him getting demoted.
I know.
He did not need this weekend.
He didn't. I mean, he didn't need it last weekend either, and the weekend before that.
And the weekend before that, yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk about obviously Max getting the grid penalty then for the next race.
I mean, that was the main reason why he lost this race. I think he got pole position, dropped back to P11, and because that Red Bull isn't as dominant this year, he just couldn't carve through the field as easily as he has done in the past in Belgium. So even though he did have a good race and ended up P4 with the controversy which we're about to talk about, it was poor. It was a poor weekend for Red Bull because obviously they had the fastest car for the first time in a while and then couldn't win the race.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We'll go on to Mercedes now. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
What a drive from George, first of all.
Unbelievable. I mean, he made that strategical. He was the only person who tried the one stop and he made it work. Somewhat. Because over the line, he was P1, it was an incredible win. I mean, I was in awe, I was watching my family, we were all in awe of him. And then we get the news, about an hour after the race, that his car was found to be under the weight limit because of running the aggressive one stop. And I mean, 2 main reasons for this. Obviously, he was running the tyres more than he should have done, meaning they had less actual rubber on them. And also, in Spa, you come straight to the pit lane after the checkered flag, which means that you can't have a cool-down lap to pick up rubber, meaning he couldn't pick up what he needed to be over the weight limit. So unfortunate, but it was controversial.
It was controversial. I mean, you can't really argue with it, can you? If you're under the weight limit, you're under the weight limit. But it is mainly to do with that track and obviously the strategy that they used. But yeah, we can't steer away from how good of a drive it was from George. It was just unfortunate.
So unfortunate, but also it's showing that Merc have pace again. I mean, on the road they were 1-2, and I mean obviously that means Lewis won his 2nd race of the season. If we were saying that at the start of the season, we would have been crazy.
Bonkers.
But I mean, we're obviously at the season break now, and I mean, what an end of the season this is going to be. I cannot wait for the next I think it's 10 races to go. But I mean, even with disqualification, there's so much more to talk about Mercedes, because obviously we're recording this about 2 weeks after the race. I've been in Florida, we've both been very busy, but the Kimi Antonelli rumours have been spiralling as well. It seems like he's going to be going to that team, it's going to be announced in Monza, and I mean, a 17-year-old going to Mercedes to replace the 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton.
It's absolutely incredible when you think about it, but then again, I think he does deserve the seat, very much so.
And also, I think it's Toto trying not to make the mistake, because he could have got Max, he could have signed Max in 2017 to Merc, but didn't, and therefore he doesn't want to make that mistake again, because Kimi Antonelli is clearly the future of that team, and he clearly doesn't want to make a mistake.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but there's also now rumours, proper rumours, that Max is now either deciding between Mercedes or Aston Martin to go in 2026, which is just bizarre, because then it'd be Kimi Antonelli, the future prodigy, against Verstappen, the current prodigy. It'd also mean that Russell, our on the track brilliant race winner, doesn't have a seat. It's insane. I mean,
the season is just absolutely crazy.
It really is. And I mean, obviously there's rumours that George is now going to go to Audi if this does happen, because Toto is mindset on getting Antonelli and Verstappen. But just everything is suddenly going right for this team. And it's insane.
Yeah, it is insane.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Ferrari.
I mean, it was very decent pace for once.
Obviously, he was on the podium.
Yes, he was on the podium, obviously with the disqualification, annoyingly. But it's Leclerc's first podium since Monaco, which is insane. Obviously, he won that one. But he was on pole position. Obviously, with Max's penalty, somehow he dragged that car up in qualifying and managed to have somewhat decent pace to get on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I still don't think it's the pace that they want to see.
No, people drop it back, I think, as we normally say.
Yeah, but still a good result from him.
Very good result. They will be very, very happy going into Zandvoort for the next race.
Yeah.
McLaren, I mean, we should have been running it.
Yeah, I was literally going to say this to you. You know, Mercedes won 2, they were clearly dominating the field. Where were McLaren?
Honestly, we really did let this one down. I mean, the way that we set up our car this race was clearly trying to prioritise race pace, and it just didn't work. And obviously Lando's mistake at the start. Lando really needs to get a hold of the starts because he's not doing well in them at all. I think I saw a graphic that everyone in the top 6, so like Lewis has like gained a position total over starts, Max has maybe lost 4 positions, and then Lando's lost 27 positions off the start in the past 14 races. So he really needs to get on top of that. Yeah. But it was a great drive from Oscar to get on the podium. I mean, if he had got past Hamilton, which he was possibly going to do, he could have won that race. Yeah. So by our new standards, I think it was kind of a poor weekend, but it was still good, especially in the constructors.
And I was going to say, especially from Oscar Piastri. I mean, some of the moves he was making.
Oh, his move on Leclerc was unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible. So we'll move on to Aston Martin. Obviously,
they were in the points for once, and I think in their constructors battle, they will take that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, points are points at the end of the day. They haven't been performing as good recently, but it was good to see them being able to battle again and kind of be up there and get points to championship, like you said. Yeah,
and obviously stuff is now going right for them as well, with the solid rumours that Adrian Newey is heading to that team on a 4-year deal, £100 million over the 4 years.
I can't believe that.
Which is insane. But Lawrence Stroll is clearly just chucking so much money at this team to try and get his son podiums. But is it going to work?
Is it going to work? And also,
yeah, I mean Verstappen. If they, I swear to God, if they get Adrian Newey and Max Verstappen, that team could be constructors champions in 2027.
Oh, they could. Fully.
I really do think so, especially with their new factory, everything going well.
Yeah.
Honestly, the next few years of Formula 1 is going to be incredible.
I mean, F1 is back.
F1 is back. And I mean, if we go to Alpine now, obviously they had the Deadpool livery this weekend, which was really, really cool. And Ocon won the points, which is really, really positive, I think. Yeah. They had great pace, they made some incredible moves, especially Ocon, going after the Kemmel Straight. And they had a good pace.
And that's not something we usually say for Alpine.
It really isn't. I mean, if you look at the start of the season, we did not expect much from them. And now they are really they're on the up. They're on the up. And I mean, the rumour mill has also been going, obviously, can you tell it's silly season? But Jack Doohan to Alpine is basically confirmed. They just haven't announced it, but it's heavy rumours. Obviously, they're F2 prodigy. Do I agree with it? No. I mean, was he good in F2? Yes. Was he excellent? No. And I mean, it's difficult, but clearly Jack made the right choice by giving up an IndyCar drive and staying as a reserve driver. So very fair play to him.
Yeah, definitely.
But if we go on to Williams now, obviously we've got the news this weekend that Carlos Sainz has signed for Williams. That team is definitely going to be up on the up as well. I can't wait for 2025. It's going to be unreal.
We're going to get so many good battles, for the constructors and the drivers. It's going to be insane.
It's going to be insane. And I mean, they had good pace. They were just outside of the points. But yeah, I mean, it was a solid weekend for Williams. Apart from Sargent being nowhere again.
Yeah, but that's not yet classic, to be honest.
But if we move on to Racing Bulls, I mean, Ricciardo was in the points. It was a very, very good drive, obviously with the disqualification, but he's doing what I think he needs to do.
He needs to prove himself to be able to keep that seat, I think, definitely.
I mean, with Lawson in the wings, he must be under proper pressure.
Oh, 100%. And Yuki as well, in a similar light, but was nowhere.
Yeah, he was nowhere. And I mean, he needs to be doing that as well. They both need to be performing hugely. And Yuki can't be having these kind of off weekends where he's in like the P14s, P15s. He needs to be excelling to be able to actually get promoted, and he can't be having weekends like this.
No, he can't. Absolutely.
No.
Couldn't agree. Sauber.
I mean, Joe retired and Bottas out of the points. I mean, he was somewhat there, but just wasn't.
No, and again, it's the same thing we've said all season. You know, it's just not been good.
It's not been good, and I really, if you were Audi right now, you'd be terrified.
Yeah.
But we've also got the news. I didn't put it on this. We've also got the news that Jonathan Wheatley, I can't remember what his name is, his role is sporting director for Red Bull, is leaving Red Bull and is going to be heading to the Audi project to be their team principal. That's a very interesting move, but I think it's a brilliant move for Jonathan, firstly, because he really excels at his job. He's really, really good at it. and I think he really will be able to bring a sporting side to Audi, which they need.
Yeah.
Right, so just to give some context, I forgot my DSLR, so we're trying to juggle with batteries and stuff like that. So we're just going to finish the outro for this one. So obviously, Sauber, it just wasn't a good race, and Ollie Oaks moved to Alpine. So now on to Haas. They were in the gaggle, but just they tried the aggressive strategy again, and it just didn't work.
No, and I think that's been the case for Haas the past few weekends as well. So not really much else to say there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. That was Spa, and we'll be back with Zandvoort in a few weeks' time.